Okay, so I'm going to go over the mini lesson, the exploration problem, and the mini lesson where you guys have to determine the reference angle. So first, this is asking you to sketch and label 65 degrees, 110 degrees, 245 degrees, and 310 degrees. So I'll also go over the warm-up. So I'm basically going to go over the whole first page with you guys. So we are asked to label all four quadrants. It's very important that you know how to label the four quadrants. You always want to start in the positive quadrant, and this will be quadrant one. We usually use Roman numerals to indicate what our quadrants are. So after you have your first quadrant labeled, you want to make sure you're going in the counterclockwise direction. So our second quadrant will be here. That's how we do Roman numeral 2. Our third quadrant will be here. This is how we indicate Roman numeral 3. And our fourth quadrant will be here. And this is how we indicate Roman numeral 4. So make sure you guys have this in your warm-up labeled correctly, okay? So before you submit your worksheet, make sure you label your warm-up correctly like that. So now as we move into the exploration, we are going to basically figure out where do these angle measurements fall. We're starting a new unit today. We're going to introduce some trigonometry because next year you guys may be moving into pre-calculus. So we want to make sure you guys have some of that background knowledge. All right, so if we're looking at this coordinate plane as if it was angles, we want to think about, well, where is 0 degrees? So let me get another marker. Right, so we would start, actually I'm going to use red. So we would start our 0 degrees. All angles start here. So all of our angles want to start here. This is what we call 0 degrees, right? So we know a 90-degree angle looks like a square, right? So we can say, well, this is a 90-degree angle. So up here, this will be 90 degrees. And this is our center. This is our center as always. That will be 90 degrees, an additional 90 degrees. Take a moment to think about it. If you go from 90 plus another 90, you end up with, this is 180 degrees. All right? And then when you add another 90 degrees, right, because all of these are equal to 90 degrees, so 180 plus 90 degrees is going to give us 270 degrees. Now, let's keep going. How do we get from 270 to 0, right? How do we get from 270 to 0? Well, we'll add another 90 degrees. And if you were to add 270 plus 360, you would end up, 270 plus another 90 degrees, you would end up with 360 degrees. So this here is 360, which is the same thing as 0. So 0 degrees and 360 degrees are equivalent. So just take a moment to think about how we labeled that. Now that we know, well, 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360, we should now be able to get into where would all of these angles fall. So we're going to get into that now. And that's what our exploration question is asking us. So let's say we're taking a look at 65 degrees. Well, 65 is between which two numbers? It's between 0 and 90, right? So if it's between 0 degrees and 90 degrees, we can draw our angle in this quadrant. And it doesn't have to be, so this will be our angle. It starts here and it ends here. It does not have to be accurate, right? We do not have protractors. You're just basically sketching it, making sure it's either in quadrant 1, 2, 3, or 4. So if we're looking at 65 degrees, we don't want to put our angle over here, right? Because that's past 90, and 65 degrees should not go past 90, all right? So if we're looking at 110, I'm only going to do the first two, and I want you guys to do the last two for me, and make sure we label them. So let's label this one as, this was our 65-degree angle, okay? So 110 falls between which two numbers? Between 90 and 180, right? So that will be in quadrant 2. So this will be our angle. It's close over here. Again, it's just a sketch, so it doesn't have to be accurate. All right, so here's our 110, and I'm just going to label it there. What I want you guys to do on your worksheet, please make sure you fill in for wherever these two angles are and make sure you label them. So maybe 245 might also be in quadrant 2. Who knows? All right, so I want you to show your work on the side, and I want you to also make sure you're labeling your angles before you submit your work. All right, so I want us to get into, I'm just looking at the worksheet here. I want us to get into reference angles in the unit circle. So reference angle is similar to this angle. So you can have any angle. You can have any angle. Now the reference angle, all right, so we're going to do this example. I'm going to use blue. All right, so the reference angle, right, is, in this example, it's 250. So 250 degrees. Where would that fall on this quadrant? Where's 250 degrees? Well, 250 is between, it's not here because it's less than 270, and it's more than 180. So the reference angle is between, the angle is between 180 and 270. So that brings us to which quadrant? That brings us to quadrant 3. So I'm just going to sketch that angle over here. I'm going to put 250. And remember, it starts over here. It starts over there, and it goes all the way around and stops there. All right, so this angle will be 250 degrees. Now we need to think about, well, is that all we have to do? No, that's not all we have to do, because if you take a look at the definition on your worksheet, it says the reference angle is the angle created, it's highlighted in green, it's the angle created with the terminal side, which is this side where it ends, and the x-axis. So if our x-axis is here, right, so we're really trying to focus on, all right, sorry, this is not the reference angle, this is just the angle, and now we're going to do the reference angle in green. Let's figure out, if the angle that we're looking at is 250, then what would the reference angle be? So our reference angle would be this portion here, just that part, right? The x-axis and where it ends. So how do we figure out what is the distance here? Well, from 250 to 180, we have, let's subtract to figure out how far that is. 250 minus 180 gives us 25 minus 18 is 7. So we have 70 degrees. All right? So, again, you need to be able to first look at the angle that's given. Figure out which quadrant that it falls in, right? Sketch it. Now, once you're trying to find the reference angle, what you have to do is figure out, well, what is the space between that and the x-axis? So you just subtract the numbers. Make sure you don't use the y-axis. It's always the x-axis. Always use the x-axis, okay? When you're trying to find the reference angle. Yeah. And we can label it with this little symbol that's also in green, right? It's highlighted. So we'll call it, this is called theta. So we'll put this little symbol here, set it equal. And that's our example for the first page. If you guys have any questions, please come to my office hours. Myself and Mr. Gold and Miss B will be happy to help you with any questions that you have. Take a moment to just do the 3 practice problems and the final problem on the bottom. Can you guys see? All right, so I want you guys to just do, hold on, come on now. Now it doesn't want to scroll down. Okay, yeah. So I want you guys to do these 3 problems down here. All right, so I just went over the whole entire first page for you. All right, I did the warm-up, I did this and that. All I need you guys to do now is to do the 3, and then here will be your exit ticket. You can submit it all in the same part. All right? See you guys in office hours.